Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Your Health is Your Choice, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest is Irina Lotvin. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about classically trained Chinese medicine. We're going to be talking about whole plant food nutrition. We're going to be talking about your adrenal glands, and we're going to be talking about your health in general. And, you know, both Eastern and Western medicine, they have a different approach to everything, but if we don't evaluate our gut health, we are without energy. I can relate to that so much. And really, it's very important that we really do know how to increase that energy and get our bodies in sync with itself, kind of lose that weight, you know, that weight that we always worry about. We can't get rid of those last 10 pounds, or we suddenly 10 pounds snuck up on us and we didn't know why. So there's an awful lot that we need to do. And it's also kind of a question of not overloading ourselves, which we're inclined to do as well. So we have a huge amount to talk about here today. And I think we should just get right into it. Welcome to the show, Irina.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so pleased and so excited to be sharing the knowledge that I have accumulated in my professional self, but also in my lifestyle experiences. And I'm here very, very happy to share with you guys, you know, especially the women over 40, you know, how we are the caretakers, the mothers, the shaman women that are here, wise selves, you know, to come out and want to change the world because we have so much wisdom.
But as we talked about in the introduction, we are very inclined to burn out because we're so busy doing for others that we forget we need to rejuvenate ourselves.
Yes. And this is number one, because if you don't have your own self-care, you cannot give anyone else anything
the
else.
Oxygen mask, right? It's as simple as that. Yeah. But we have to wait until we've kind of had the cosmic 2x4 and flattened before we realize that, don't we?
So sad. And so in hopes, you know, in my teachings and in my coaching, I am so in hopes, you know, that we retrain that habit and we listen to our body. And in this crazy world that we are today in with all this, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else, and with this technology, you know, COVID hits, you know, everybody's businesses, you know, stress comes out, illnesses comes out, fear comes up. And, you know, I'll talk a little bit about Chinese medicine, how, you know, even emotional state can trigger, you know, our immune system. And, you know, big subject that we're going to talk about is adrenal fatigue. And it so relates to this whole subject of what we are going through as a world, as a nation, as, you know, our own selves, particularly us women.
I always say that, you know, to people, listen to your gut. It's your divine truth, right? But it's also the place that houses the most turmoil.
It does. And, you know, there has been actually so much science that are coming up front. And finally, medical system is recognizing it as well, how gut and brain connection has such a powerful output and input in every day of our life. So to talk about this, just, you know, briefly, if you think about gut and brain connection, we have a vagus nerve that is a huge connection to our gut system. It's the biggest nerve that connects to all the stomach area with little violas, so to speak, a nerve ending, so to speak. And so once we keep staying in that fight and flight, and we're constantly sending those signals. Our system is constantly on fire, and sometimes even no matter what you eat, and some people say, oh, you have to eat this and you have to eat that, and some people can eat anything, right? And their nervous system is so strong and they can walk away totally fine. Others will have sensitivities and allergies, and to any kind of food, to all kind of foods. And it's so phenomenal how individually we all either triggered or we don't.
Right. And I think it depends a lot to do with the mental and the physical outlook on life. There's just some people that just don't stress out, or they know how to deal with stress. They get mad for a moment and then it's released. Some people don't know how to exercise it out, or act it out, sing it out, whatever. But especially mums, as you were referring to earlier, once that baby is born, until I've got one son turning 39 in a couple of weeks. No, he's 37. My daughter's turning 39, and it's like, doesn't matter how old they are, that anxiety is always going to be there, right? And we just can't help it. It's just the way we're wired as mothers. And so you worry about their decisions, you worry about their health, you worry about their safety. That never goes away. But it's how to handle that worry so that the gut isn't paying the price for it, because when the gut pays the price for it, it has a negative effect on the entire body.
Yes, absolutely. Because, we see in Chinese medicine, and I was going to talk about kidneys, but we could talk about so many subjects. But if you think about gut in Chinese medicine, we consider it to be an earth element. Stomach is our mother earth element. Everything surrounds the stomach and spleen connection, as it is the element that digests at the end, and then sends it's called a I forgot what it's called. It secretes certain waters to every part of the organs out of the food we eat. And so each organ is responsible to produce a different function in our body as well, like even hair or vision or nails. And so everything comes from that mother earth that's in the middle, and everything else is surrounding it, all other organ system. So if mother earth is out of balance,
which she is, that's why we're reflecting it.
Watch out, because in my intakes, like, I would start questioning, people like saying, well, are you a warrior? Or do you get angry? Or, do you feel like some grief when you're emotional? Because each organ has emotion as well. And then we go into the physical outcome. Like, in the physical outcome would be like, how is your skin? Do you have psoriasis? Or what allergies do you have that you can't, nuts or milk? And then by kind of dissecting it slowly, and figuring out what had happened, trauma or past experiences in hereditary with parents, you could see which organ is out of balance. And we can actually correct it by giving it the proper nutrition, but also proper exercises, emotional exercises. And I'll just give you an example. For example, if somebody is angry and has anger cooped inside of them, and so it affects actually the organ that's liver. And I would ask questions like, for example, in order to balance that liver, you could do something creative. Have you been doing anything creative in your life? And it could be anything. It could be singing. You don't have to be a professional singer to do it. You could be dancing in a house, singing in the house. You could be drawing. You could be a creative writer. But something to balance that negativity of anger. And then slowly, once you start, and if you coach a person, it's a constant reminder. So, eventually it become a second hand, I'm missing something in my life, like dancing or
Balance
writing.
is everything, isn't it? I
And
mean,
balance is
we used to
everything.
have a wonderful woman who was on my shows for 5 years. We called her Snake Oil Woman because back in her day in the 60s, she was into Chinese medicine, Ayurveda medicine, other
Okay.
various nutritionals. And she would say the colon, kidney, and liver are the most important organs in the body. And everybody will go to the brain and the heart. But if the colon, kidney, and liver is not functioning properly, it has a negative effect on the heart and on the brain. So, yeah, you want to take care of your heart and your brain, absolutely, and they need to be in sync. But if you're not taking care of the gut, the kidneys, liver, and colon, it doesn't matter what you do with the brain and the heart, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting. You notice that, and I had to get on a coaching platform with a coach that I chose to work with to learn how to get on a platform, how to be in a Facebook, how to present myself, how to get out there and be noticed. Because I've been working in my own practice for so many years, I didn't know how to go online. So I found somebody who was a therapist and also very spiritual person, and she was a good marketer at the same time, which is okay, which is great. So she was having a little bit different approach to how to market to people, and using a lot of the psychological connections, like I would say, like, you probably heard of Dispenza, like Deepak Chopra, or like having the conscious unconscious kind of pulling in the people that you want to work with, that they find you. And so what's interesting is she was attracting a lot of people that were very spiritual, therapists, or just very spiritual people. And what I noticed, exactly what you just said right now that you opened the conversation, people that would teach you how to do mind therapy, but not addressing the body.
Right.
And I call myself, a lot of people call themselves mind, body, spirit. I call myself body, mind, spirit, because if you heal the body, the mind becomes clear.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a two-way street, isn't it? I know my anxiety, even if it's not on the forefront, in the background is going to my gut. And I know when my gut plays up, obviously I'm carrying some anxiety that I'm not paying attention to, right? So it's constantly there. The rest of the body, so much has been over, I don't know, the last 100 years of head, everything above the neck, right? The intellectualism, the academics, the brain and the mind having all the power. But if it's not in sync with the rest of the body, then it is purely that, a talking head. It hasn't got the wisdom. All it's got is abundance of knowledge that it doesn't know how to use. When you're in tune with the body, you're in tune with the psyche, you're in tune with the universe, and then it's speaking through every organ of you. And then the mind will know what to do with the knowledge. It will have the wisdom to do it. We carry so much wisdom in our bodies, but we don't listen.
Yes. And it's funny, you're saying it now that I'm kind of like listening to you, which totally makes sense. I'm totally in agreement. But in Chinese medicine, brain does not have, it's not considered to be an organ system, even. It's really just a computer.
Yes, exactly.
That stores all our memories. Data.
Yeah. Well, you've got one side of the brain that actually is wired to making our body work, and the other side is programming. Right?
Stomach is our brain.
Yeah, exactly. And the wrong programming can have such a negative effect on every aspect of your life.
Yes, totally. 100%. Yes, and when that's why, like, when I wanted to talk about the adrenal fatigue, I wanted to say how the kidney is considered, and adrenals, it's part of the kidney system, and they sit right on top and I was going to show a little map, like if you want me to show
Mm-hmm.
where they sit, so people can connect, because you really want to connect to your body every single moment. Like even right now, like when you're sitting, are you breathing? Like are you sitting? Are you stiff? Are your shoulders like clenching up? Are you holding your breath, or are you at ease? And it's all something that we can just scan constantly the body and reflect. And there are really, really wonderful exercises that I'm going to share with you later, that you can just tune in your parasympathetic system into balance when it's out of balance. But I just want to show you like where the kidneys are, and on top of them there is adrenals, and it's part of the water system. And the water system in Chinese medicine is your brain. So the brain is actually connected also to your kidneys. And so I just want to show you, if you could see where it is.
If you come over a wee bit. Yeah, okay.
Yes. So I don't know if you could see right here, this little light up. Oh,
you need to come over a little bit more so we can see it. No. Okay, there we are.
Okay. So the little triangles that are sitting on top of our kidneys, as we could see, there is intestines showing through, but in the back, on the lower end side of the 12 rib, you will see those little triangles, and those are adrenals. And if you put your hands on your waist in the back, and you could actually feel if they're cold or warm. And I don't know if you've ever seen, like in Chinese medicine, in Chinese people, what they would do, they would sometimes activate their adrenals or kidneys by doing little slaps.
Right.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't. I've seen the rubbing, and I've done the
rubbing,
but not the clapping.
That usually activates the kidneys and adrenals. But we don't need to activate them. We're activated as we are already.
Yeah.
But just holding that area, you could feel if it's cold or if it's warm. And if you feel it, like your hands are warmer, they're giving that energy, because we all energy fields, as we know. So you could actually even, stimulate your adrenals by rubbing your feet, your hands like this, creating some traction, and just putting your hands in the back under the 12 rib, like where the waist is, and you just cover them and you just love them. It's it's like we're just so disconnected.
Yeah, we are. We are. Yeah. We just expect this, it's rather like a vehicle, isn't it? I put gas in it. But do you change the oil? Do you check the suspension? What kind of gasoline are you putting in there? And we'll probably spend more time on servicing our car than we will our own personal vehicle, our own bodies.
Exactly. And so it just, we have to slow down, and I hate to say it, I hate to bring this, and it's not politically that I'm going to say it, but I want to just share this with audience, your audience, my audience, that, we are in this COVID-19 times, and it's almost like, if you think about it, and I just thought about it recently, it's almost like it brought us, the Mother Earth brought us to a standstill. It just stopped us.
Yes. In our tracks.
In our tracks. Because it can't go any faster than it's been going.
Yes. Yeah. We needed to be still. We needed to be present. We needed to be aware. And we were just foot to the pedal in fifth gear, zooming along, not even really knowing where we were going or what we were doing to our bodies. Or so many people are so stressed out and don't realize they are until they stop and think, why are my teeth clenched?
Yes. Why do I need appliances at night?
Yeah. So being still and stopping is a gift, isn't it?
It's a gift. It's a gift, and and of course, it's a gift, but it's for people to have that awareness, and some people are very distractive, and I see it a lot, and I'm sure you've seen it too. And they would turn to like drinking,
Yeah.
and being more aggressive, and not knowing how to manage themselves by going within. So to me, it's a pity, because nobody had taught them.
No.
Because and young people especially, like they became more into gaming. If anything else, it's just 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, they're like on this gaming computers. They're just burning themselves. They don't realize it because they're young.
Yeah. And they wonder why their bodies aren't working properly for them, right?
They won't. They will.
Yeah.
They will not be working properly, for sure.
Yeah.
And then when we're so tired, I just
Yes.
wanted to say, what does the brain usually craves? And that we don't realize it, but the brain actually does need the fuel, and the fuel that it likes is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And it will just go for it by itself. And you just, it's like almost like if you're not taking care of your self-care, then the brain will just say, oops, that's what I want right now.
Well,
and
if you think about it, addiction
mm-hmm.
is really a brain thing. I mean, the body gets used to it, right?
Yes.
And then, like I call very often when you have, people doing an event and there's lots of people there and there's lots of rah, rah. I call that a sugar high. They're getting everybody up on this high. And then when it's not there sustainable, a crash. And so, we're tired, we will eat the sugar and we're blah, 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 for a while, and then it's ultra crash. And what do people do? Eat more sugar, or
eat more sugar.
Red Bull drink, which is just dreadful for them. Absolutely. So bad for them.
So bad for them. Yes. And I've seen it because my husband has a 22-year-old that I inherited.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I see. I see the bull all the time. And there's nothing you can say.
No. The young people know it all. The benefit of wisdom from life-lived experiences is not what they're ready to hear.
So guys, listen up.
Yeah, exactly. Save yourself a lot of grief down the road.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Golden information coming from here.
Yes, exactly. Well, what we do is we seed it. And eventually when something comes along to tap them on the shoulder, and then they go, oh yeah, I was told about that, And so,
yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the 22-year-old turning 23 soon, had a lot of acne. I'm like, just so easy. Just stop like eating junk food. And, he tried it for a week and all of his acne went away miraculously.
And then he went back to junk food?
Of course. Of course.
You deal a lot with plant-based food, which, veganism is plant-based food. And a lot of people think, being vegan is just living on a lettuce leaf like a rabbit. And there are my daughter and her son, my son-in-law are 100% vegan, and I am partially there. I do occasionally eat chicken, eggs, and cheese, and a bit of fish now and again. So I call myself an 80%er. And that 20% is still that leeway there. But there are so many delicious meals in plant-based food. And the thing about plant-based food, every single one of those ingredients has a service for you. It's designed to boost your system, to balance your system, to clear you out. And that's the thing, we don't give the plant-based, the vegetables, enough credit, do we?
No, we don't. And, and number one concern usually people do ask me is, where do I get protein?
Mm-hmm.
So, just to clear the air about the protein comes from plants.
Yes.
When we look at big animals like elephants or gorillas, like giraffes, they don't eat meat.
No, exactly. No,
they're huge,
it's the human thing that does that. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And they're healthy.
Yes,
right?
And they're very strong too.
Yes.
And so there is something to think about. And in my classes, like I do 5-day trainings that I usually don't charge anything, but I think I'm going to start charging just something, just like, I don't know, $15, whatever, just to get people to be more responsible and commit to themselves,
Yes.
because the ones that do commit to themselves are having such revelations about feeling good, like even in 5-6 days. It's amazing how body can just turn around so quickly. But talking about plant, and I want to say, you know, kudos to you that you are mostly doing plant-based. But kudos to you, because, you know, I don't expect anybody to be 100% all the time. It's impossible on anything that you choose in life to be 100%. If you're doing 80-20 right now, it's great. You know, ideally you want to do like 90-10.
Yeah.
But
at
it's okay
home,
to go.
I can. At home, I can do that.
Yes.
It's when I go out or go to other people, you know, then it's different and I'm more flexible. But at home, I'm a 6 veg a night person.
It's wonderful, because, you know, really the bottom line, even if you don't have something correctly that you're eating, like I always say to my clients, really great tips. If you eat something that, you know, is not making you feel good, because really it's about making you feel good. You know, we change our bodies so much since we were 20 to our 40s, you know, with the hormonal changes for women especially. You know, our digestion becomes, you know, like organs wear off eventually. We're all gonna wear off. but the whole idea is to be nice to them, to be nice to our organ system. And so we have to try different things. Sometimes I cannot eat what I used to eat at age 20. I used to be a sushi lover. I wouldn't go one night without going and getting myself sushi, raw sushi. And I traveled a lot, you know, and I was in Japan and I was in China, and so in Hong Kong. And so, you know, well, anywhere I would go and I would find a sushi place, because I couldn't live without one. But today, I cannot tolerate it. I cannot eat it. It's done. I mean, now I'm not, because my body changed and I had to go through the changes with it. It's not because I mean, I do believe in saving our planet. I do believe that the food is no longer the way it used to be.
Right.
Quality, you know, because we're populating Mother Earth. And so the production of farming the animals for us is increasing. So definitely it's not the same quality of food. So if you are eating animal flesh, then go and do the research and go to the good sources, you know, the ones that are not farm raised, the ones that are grazing, you know, or wild fish. You know, this is very important. And you go to the restaurant, they don't really know what they're feeding us.
Right.
Unfortunately.
I think something to point out is there has become animal farming. It's manufacturing of animals, and the abuse of these animals is absolutely inhumane. Now, we've got to just look at something very simply. If you're partaking of any of those animals that are living in such high stress and pain and anguish, you are eating that anguish. You are eating that stress, because it changes the structure of the meat, and you are taking that on. And I think we see so much anger out there today, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's not in the diet. It's very hard to get angry with a carrot.
Exactly. And also another real point out is that, because, you know, there is such a commodity, I would say, you know, for meat and chicken and fish, they keep it in a very tight environment, and so the infection is very high. And because of the infection, they have to feed them all antibiotics.
And you're eating the antibiotics.
And the hormones, by the way, to make them grow faster. And this is what we are taking in.
And, you know, it's again, even with your vegetables, you know, go as organic as you can because of the pesticides that are on the food. We've got to this stage of opulence with our food. You know, we as a humanity didn't used to eat meat every day. Might have been once a week, right? It was the vegetables, it was the legumes, it was the grains, it was all of that stuff, you know, oats and all of that we ate that kind of really kept us going, and then meat was a luxury. And now meat has become, you know, something that people have all the time without thinking about, A, where is it coming from? What is the quality? And do I need to eat so much of it? Right?
Totally,
So
totally.
the meat
Including
market is
sugar.
horrible. Yes, exactly.
Sugar cane was only for very wealthy and,
Yes,
kings and queens.
yes.
And
Yeah, exactly. And
I
we're all
adore them.
eating like kings and queens right now. And also I think the overeating, you know,
Overeating,
it is,
yes.
you know, we've got to ask ourselves is that if we could sustain ourselves on X, Y, and Z amount a day, and that's what the body can digest, and that's what all the body needs based on the energy that you need, why are we eating so much?
Yes, and that's why I became so popular with my courses that I do,
Mhm.
which is I do detox.
Yeah,
And detox, is really to just release the body organ system from all this abundance.
yeah.
And it's miraculous what happens in the body, how it heals, and how people start losing weight.
Hmm.
But it's hard because we are in a society, so it is important to have some sort of support structure, and having people that are mind like,
Yeah,
people around you that can either lead you or be with you or partner with you, because that's, I think, really number one is this. We know what to do, like, there's so much information out there, but actually doing it, you
yeah,
need some sort of tribe that you belong to. I don't know, some sort of
yeah.
somebody that you like.
Encouragement, you know.
Encouragement, yes.
We don't, you know, like, you know, a lot of vegan people make the mistake of immediately trying to make somebody feel guilty for eating meat, instead of
It's so good.
introducing them to actually how delicious vegan food can be and how you can consciously still get your meat texture. You can still get your hamburger or your hot dog or even, you know, the chicken flavors. You can get all of that without
Totally.
actually having to have that. You know, my grandson is 6 months old and
Oh,
totally vegan parents. Yes, he has formula, but they also, you know, mama's milk. And this child is 98 percentile, you
wow.
know, and so, you know, I have to put some of that down to diet because
Yes,
they eat
yes.
very, very healthily.
It's funny you mentioned it. My daughter is 32 this year, and I breastfed her with, I think she was like a year and a half up
Mhm,
until, and then I was giving her at that time, she was born in 89. I was giving her soy. I wasn't giving her any milk.
mhm.
And the reason why I wasn't giving her any milk, I did a lot of research. And I felt, that at that time I already knew, like instinctively, I
Yeah.
knew that, the cow milk is for the baby calves.
Yes, it is.
Um, and,
Which they're not
our,
getting. If
yes, they're,
right,
they're not
yeah,
getting such shame.
yeah. They take the calf away immediately after it's born. It doesn't get to settle on its mother at all. And if it's a male, they'll dispose of it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It's
But
disgusting.
it's disgusting. I agree. But what's interesting about this milk that I've learned later in life, um, the chemical, because I also took, I don't know if you know Dr. Neil Bernard.
Hmm.
He's one of the doctors one of the forefront doctors. I think one of the doctors that I studied under was Dr. Campbell, who did the China study book and went to China to do I guess analysis how Chinese, people that were in the rice fields and
Hmm.
having rice and lentils and tofu were not having any health issues.
Right.
But as soon as they would go to the cities where there were McDonald's and burger houses, they would immediately become a stereotype. Um, what is called American diet.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. There's a couple. I don't remember the name. SAD diet. That's what it's
Hmm.
called. SAD American something SAD. Standard American diet,
Hmm.
SAD, SAD diet. And so he done a lot of studies and research, and was one of the first forefront people who came with that science up, to the public. and published in medical journals. And then later, there are a couple of more doctors that came up front. And Dr. Neil Bernard is another one of those doctors. So what Dr. Neil Bernard does, he teaches medical students. And he also, because, in our society, if you go to medical school, the medical doctors get trained like 8 years or so, in their studies with internships. But they only get 5 hours of nutrition. That's all.
No, I know.
It's a fact. It's scary fact.
It's a very scary fact.
Very scary fact.
When so much can be prevented through good nutrition.
Yes.
And we just don't. Again, it's like they're taught to look at the symptom and not to look at the root of the problem.
Absolutely. And the bandage, of course, is pharmaceutical. Yes. But it's the way that our society, medical society, is trained, because who's in charge? Pharmaceutical companies.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a no win-win situation. So there are very few doctors out there, and Dr. Neil Bernard is one of them. Then Dr. Campbell is another one. Dr. Esselstyn is another one. Dr. Ornish is one of the first doctors also that studied this reverse heart disease, and actually got himself approved by insurance companies to lead retreats and teach clients or patients how to reverse their heart disease with plant-based, and having a little bit of animal, but mostly going. Dr. Hyman is another one. There is like, you could count how many doctors are on the fingers that are turning, against the medical establishment and turning to food as medicine. Just like we know very well who said it, the very famous old Hippocrates said, using food as medicine. Medicine is your food.
It's your fuel and your food.
Yes.
Right. And if the wrong food inside of you it's going to be like you've put totally the wrong gasoline in the car. It's going to backfire.
Yes.
Right. Cause bloating and sluggishness, and your car just doesn't want to go.
Yes. It's amazing. People come to my workshops that I do, and symptoms like rheumatoid arthritis, symptoms like fibromyalgia. And this is all just names, okay? This is all just names that, doctors invented, the diagnosis. But things like rheumatoid arthritis, things that, pain in hands and pain in wrists, all of that is cleared in 5 to 6 days, that if they take out inflammatory food out of their diet. But do people go forward and stick to it?
Yeah. No.
Unless they, unless they have some sort of a hand-holding atmosphere, where it's a slow process of retraining your brain to new habits.
We all think that we can't do without something. My ex-husband is Chinese, and when I first met him, I was on 17 cups of coffee a day, because in the restaurant business, and totally wired, everything about me. I couldn't sleep, everything about me like that. And he got me on ginseng tea. And completely clear. I drink one and a half, maybe 2 cups of coffee a day now. That's it. Water the rest of the day. But he got me on the ginseng tea, and it just completely, cleared me off the whole coffee craving, gave me the energy, which was wonderful. And I had a wonderful Western doctor that she would say to me, okay, you've got this. Now, what can your husband find out what to take about it? Because she would always push the Chinese medicine as a solution before she would go to the Western medicine.
Absolutely. I know. It's such beautiful that, I think in Chinese medicine, there is so much wisdom, the literature, the poetry just has so much wisdom to pass along. And I think it's probably one of the most ancient, even before Ayurveda, that came because before I wanted to study Chinese medicine, I did a lot of research. I wanted to go into naturopath, or should I go into homeopathical school, or should I go to Ayurveda school? And then I don't know why Chinese medicine kind of won me over, because it was just so much data on that.
Yes.
And I'm kind of the right and left kind of
Mm-hmm.
person. Like, I have to know the data. Like, I have to know why it works, how it works, the depth of it, and have studied it. I remember my first year in Chinese medicine. I was like, oh my God, that's why, I have so and so, because, of course, just like any medical student goes through the medical studies, when they do pathology, everybody thinks they have all the pathology that they're learning, which is very funny, actually, because at the end of the first year was the anatomy, and second year was the pathology, and then the second year, out of 4 years of studying Chinese medicine, the second year, when we studied pathology, in Western pathology, they would bring in the Chinese medicine to compare, how do you compare the Chinese medicine, Western and Eastern together. And it was just so fascinating how everybody was feeling that they had all of them.
Yeah. Right, exactly. The thing about Chinese medicine, I mean, things like acupuncture are just amazing, because, it releases your chi, your energy. And people don't realize, if their energy is blocked in a certain place of the body, the fascia can't send the information from the brain down to the rest of the body to work. And you need that energy to be constantly go. Oh, have we still got you?
Disappeared. Okay, yes. I don't know. Somebody called me. I'm so sorry. Somebody
That's all
called
right.
me.
That's all right.
Okay.
But while you're coming back on,
I'm coming right back.
the acupuncture is absolutely brilliant in releasing the chi, so that energy can get through the body again, and just keep that energy flowing, because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to flow within you all the time, to optimize, your whole performance in life. It's the same with the energy that you have around you. This is what you were saying earlier about the right people around you when you're making these decisions, because you want to be around the right energy. And then that you go to the Indian medicine and things like turmeric, right? Anti-inflammatory. Absolutely. I very often cook with it. I take capsules with it. I do have fibromyalgia, so I do have to be careful.
Okay.
And so it is knowing my diet really will have and my stress level will have a very big effect on how my body is going to be. And and it's it's a constant navigation between body and its need, and to make sure that I keep the balance there, which isn't always possible, but one has to do what the best you can do, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
There's always an answer. There's always an answer.
Always an answer.
Holistic
And the
answer.
best answer, I want to say, the best, like, in Chinese medicine, we have this yin and yang, right?
Yes.
The yin and yang. So the energy is constantly flowing.
Yes.
The day turns into night, the night turns into day. We need to rest. We get up in the morning with the sunshine, we have full of energy. If we burn ourselves and not get some sleep, our yang is not rising anymore. Yang is the upper energy. They also look at our, I don't have my dial with me. I have it in the office, the Chinese dial. But if you look at the body structure, the head, when you stand up, is your yang energy. It's closer to the heaven energy. And then your feet are on the ground, they're closer to earth energy. So the whole idea is, like, when we do Chinese medicine treatments, is to rebalance that yin and yang energy. It's not just the organ system, but it's also rebalancing, how to ground a person. If the energy is constantly, like in Ayurveda, they have also similar confirmation to a person who has pitta energy or vata energy or kapha energy, and how to rebalance it. And so the same thing with yin and yang. It's are you constantly in yang? Because if you're constantly in yang, you're gonna burn your candles.
Exactly. Yeah. No, everything is about balance. And the interesting thing about the feet and the crown, My energy is reversed. I actually
Mhm.
get my energy through my crown, not through my feet. And you know, a lot of people, you know, put feet on the ground and it's grounding, it's earthing, and they get
Mhm.
their energy. But one of the problems is right now, Mother Earth is in distress. She's been getting everybody's negativity, and it's been going on for so long. She's literally cracking up, and you know,
Yes.
the tornadoes, the hurricanes, the fires, the droughts, the floods. This is Mother Earth being out of balance. And so while we're busy grounding and kind of giving our woes to Mother Earth, you know, she's off balance. And so if you're getting balance from Mother Earth, that's what you're taking in right now. So we need to be extremely kind to our Mother Earth, because she provides us absolutely everything we ever need.
Everything.
And the
Everything we ever need.
universe gives us the wisdom to know what to do with it.
Yes.
But we have become very opulent and very ungrateful. And I think all children should be taught, where does their food come from? Because they all think it's the supermarket,
Yes.
right?
And
So,
plastic. Fantastic.
yeah,
Yes. And cardboards. And yeah, and
yes,
that's one lesson that, if we can give away is, when you go to the stores, don't go in the middle of the stores, shop
yes,
around the
yes,
peripherals.
you're right. And get the fresh produce
The fresh
and all the other
produce,
goods. And
and support your local
yes,
farmers and farmer markets.
mm-hmm,
Like, know where your food is coming from,
right.
and enjoy. Going to the farmer markets is so much fun.
Mm.
Getting to support your like CIA local markets, or going to the farm and picking, like old times, picking
Yes,
vegetables or picking fruit. It's so much. You feel so good doing it.
growing your own. I mean, I was
And
busy
growing
talking to
your
my
own.
brother in England, and yeah, I'm eating my way through the tomatoes, you know, it's,
Love it.
you know, and there's some gratification about eating something you have planted, you have watched grow. There's an appreciation for it. And I think we've become, with the fast food and the buffets and the excess of food, which we waste so much, don't even get me going on that. But we've taken
Yes.
food for granted so much that we haven't got the appreciation. And I
Yes.
think if we had the appreciation and really understood every morsel we put in, and thank you, food, for fortifying my
Being
body.
there. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Totally. And then, it's interesting. I also do yoga, and I've
Mm-hmm.
been going to the yoga center, specifically one that I discovered when I was like 19 years old. I would go there at least once a year. It's a place that my favorite place, and you probably know it because you're from Canada. I used to go to Canada too. It's a Sivananda Center.
Mm-hmm.
They have one in Montreal, one in Toronto, and in Val David. And I used to take my daughter when she was little um, to camp for a summer there. And I would just go for a week, drop her off, and then come back and spend another week there. And so it became a tradition. But why am I bringing it up is because, it is a vegan community,
Mm-hmm.
of course. When they cook, and you could become part of the community in the kitchen, you can volunteer. It's called uh, I forget what it's called. It's karma. It's karma yogi. They call
Mm-hmm.
it karma yogi, where you can, just if you're visiting as a visitor, or if you want to stay there, you can be a helper. And so what I've noticed, what they did, and this is so beautiful that you're bringing this energy part of it, they would cook in the kitchen, and they would have like a couple of cooks, and the rest of the people would be either peeling or
Mm-hmm.
serving or cleaning the dishes. But they would gather in a circle before they would release the food
Mm-hmm.
to the public, and do a little bit of chiming,
Mm-hmm.
and do a little bit of prayers,
Yes.
and it would give the food
Mm-hmm.
such delicious
Yes. Yes.
feeling of
Yes.
energy, and you could feel it.
Well, it's, you know, a meal that's been made with love.
Yes,
You know, somebody
you do.
just quickly flapping a food, eat up, you know that it doesn't, there isn't the passion in it. But when somebody's taken the time to cook and then, you know, place it on the table before you and you're eating it in gratification, you
And
know,
give a little prayer,
right.
something.
Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
it, you know, doesn't have to be religious.
Yes,
It's
not at all.
gratification, you know, being grateful for the food that you eat, being grateful for those that grew it for you, being grateful for those that cooked it for you, being grateful for the fact that you can actually have this meal when there's so many starving in the world, right? I think if we step into gratitude as a higher elevation, I think that will have a huge effect on our entire body.
Yes, and it starts with us.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even when you make your own food,
Yeah.
or cooking. Like I have clients that don't like to cook at all,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's sad. It's like it's very sad because you don't have to spend a lot of time
No.
cooking. You could make it very simple, but it's just the whole energy. It's like you feeding your body. Give it some love. It starts
Yes.
with you.
Yes. Yes. Have you always been in this, discovery of health and of what works? Is this something that's always been there for you? Or did you have a crossroads somewhere in your life when you looked at, I don't like where I'm at, I don't like how I feel, and I want to change?
Um, of course, yes, I did. But I want to say that, I was brought up, I would say, with a grandmother who, well, both grandmothers loved to cook. And so I believe, looking back, that I came from a family that food and cooking was a very important part of the process, of taking their health. And today I even have one aunt that's still alive that's 99 years old, and she
Wow.
is so alive, and she
Mm-hmm.
lives by herself, and she cooks everything herself. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't let anybody touch her food to cook for her.
She
and
knows what she likes and what's good for her
she
and what works, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and she does it all from scratch. And no, she's not plant-based, and she has unfortunately issues that are related.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't change sometimes, everybody.
You're right.
Uh, and at a certain point, it worked for her. She's 99 years old, and yes, we're all gonna get pains. But my background, that you said, it does rotates a lot around food. But my story, my own journey, I wanted to be an artist when I was growing up, and so I went to pursue that passion of mine when I was younger, and um, I won scholarships to go to a very famous art school in New York City. And so my first year of that art school, my parents were very disappointed that I didn't follow their medical steps, that they were in medicine, both of them. And they said, "Oh, you're not going to survive as an artist. You're going to be a poor artist all your
Mm-hmm.
life." And so I said, "Okay, fine. I'll switch to fashion design." So I switched into a fashion design in the same school, and I continued my career for 22 years in fashion design. And during that time, it took me, like I was saying before, to uh, foreign countries like Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong and China and Paris, of course, and London, of course, and Germany and Spain, and, for fashion stories, and Italy, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
But in China and in Hong Kong is where I discovered Chinese medicine
Mm-hmm.
when I was young. And at that time, I didn't really give it much of a thought. I just felt good
Mm-hmm.
and I felt fantastic. It's like, instead of massage, I'd go and get an acupuncture
Mm-hmm.
for me. And I would feel so amazing. And I remember that, getting massage would give me energy for a good day. I would feel
Yes.
great for a day. And the next day, I'm okay, done, back
Mm-hmm.
again. And then when I did got Chinese medicine treatment, it would make me walk on clouds for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there's something to it. So I got very into it. I want to say in New York City, there were Chinatown, and I
Mm-hmm.
would go regularly for about once a week or so to get my acupuncture treatment. And then at the age of 45, 46, I got sick of working in fashion industry, and I just wanted, like you come to a certain point in your life that I wanted to have some sort of a community. I wanted to give. I wanted to be part of something. And I started thinking and writing things out. Like one thing is that I will say is that I always followed my heart, whatever I did in my life. Yes, I never really succumbed to, you have to do this and you have to be that. And so at that time I started investigating, what would I like to do? What do I want to do? And because Chinese medicine was so powerful in my own experience, I said, I want to know how it works. I want to learn it. And so I started on that mission that I want to learn how this Chinese medicine works. And I was just so passionate about it because it was just like, it was like poetry, it's like, and I remember in my first year of Chinese medicine, teachers were asking us to introduce ourselves. It was a small class in North Carolina. I went to this classical Chinese medicine school training. And I remember teachers would ask us to talk about ourselves, to get up and to talk about where you're from, what did you do before. Okay. So when I was in school, in Chinese medicine school, every teacher would ask us to get up and introduce ourselves. And I started introducing myself as, I used to be a fashion designer and blah, blah, blah. And I discovered Chinese medicine. I absolutely love it. And I want to learn how it works. And then at one point, I had an aha moment. And my aha moment was very phenomenal. I'll share it with you. And I used to work as a fashion designer, designing clothes for women primarily to make them look great, to make them feel wonderful. And I used fabric to make absolutely beautiful designs. Well, I don't know. I'm biased, I guess.
You have to believe in what you do, love.
I loved what I did. And then when I was introducing myself about Chinese medicine, I said, the aha moment was, it's interesting. I used to use needles, to sew. Oh my God, Chinese medicine has needles. Oh, I use fabric to design beautiful clothes. Oh, well, our body is our biggest fabric.
Right. Yes.
And then I would design for women to make them feel good and look great. And so designing a treatment plan for a person was something that I was doing anyway. So it's just like,
just switching fabrics, switching designs,
switching
right?
fabrics. Yes.
So you were designing them from the inside out, not the outside in.
Because every point is a design point, basically.
Yes.
That manipulates every organ system and manipulates how a person feels and manipulates how a person is in their being, in their state. So I was very fortunate to follow my heart.
Yeah. Both times, really.
Both times, really,
right?
yes.
Because, I mean, we take various journeys, in our lives. And it's like, well, just because you were good at that doesn't mean you have to continue on that. But it doesn't mean you have to throw it away, because there's always some skills of that you can apply to something else. Right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you hear all the time of people completely going in a totally different direction. And you think, well, it's like chalk and cheese. It's so different. But no, what are the fundamentals? Because there is something there that's in synchronicity. And that is, just applying those same skills or beliefs to something else.
And so it comes from your passion. And, when it comes from your heart and it comes from your passion, and again, like you started the story about the energy, energy, if you have that energy, and energy is your passion, if you have it, it's like, each time I would do a treatment, I'm like, oh, really, you feel good, your back is fine. Oh my God, can't believe it. My mom was going through cancer, and I designed a treatment for her when she was going through chemotherapy to build her blood back again, because, they wouldn't be able to do the chemo if the blood was, the white cells were not up to the level that they could, infuse chemicals into the body, so that, it had to be the correct white and red blood count. So I would be able to bring her blood count to normal in order for her to have chemo. I mean, I hated the fact that she did have chemo, and I hated the fact that I couldn't say what someone has to do. Somebody has to do what they need to do for themselves. Yeah. And it was just very hard to see that and witness it. But separating yourself from that, it's very hard. And separating yourself when I do treatment is also very hard, because it's not me that's doing it. It's my knowledge and my energy is doing it, but it's not me. It's flowing through.
Yes, you're channeling me. Yeah.
And so it's a very, very potent, it's very potent. And I've developed a lot of my intuitive skills through, because we had to do like thousands and thousands of pulse measuring, for example, and you develop your intuitive skills. So it's very powerful training that I had, and I'm so grateful that I can use it today without the needles on clients, just by taking that information from them and being able to turn their health and life around.
Yeah, when I used to go to the Chinese doctors, it was the pulse and the tongue.
Yes.
And the tongue can say so much about your health, can't it?
Yes, it can. And also your voice and your and your they said, I remember my first year in school, they said the best doctor can just see how a client walks and talks. Because I was always like, oh, but Chinese people don't speak Chinese. I don't speak Chinese. I can't really talk to them. I can tell them what they need to do with me. They don't understand me. I said, well, a good Chinese doctor does not have to listen to what you say. They have to hear how you say it, how you sound, how you walk, how you talk, and how you smell. Because every smell resonates to they call it CF, central focus, like, your root, so to speak. Like each one of us has a different root. Like in I guess it's easier to say in Ayurveda, for example, they have like, you're a kapha, or you're a vata, or you're this, or your type. In Chinese medicine, there is also a type each person has. And it's the way you were born. And if you're out of balance, you can bring yourself into balance by doing certain steps and therapies like food and exercise and mental state.
Yeah, and the thing is with Chinese medicine, it doesn't have to be big, kung fu. You have the qigong, the tai chi. It's slow, deliberate movements. And as you're saying, they don't really need you to tell them what's wrong. They will be able to tell what's wrong from the breath, from the tongue, from the pulse, as you said, from the way you speak, the way you hold yourself. Yes. They'll know what's wrong, right? Because when our body is out of sync, it's screaming. But we can't hear it because we haven't been trained to actually pay attention to it.
Yes. And so I decided, quite honestly, it's interesting how life does happen. It all happens, like when you look back, it happens all for a reason. So when COVID hit and I did not practice in the office, I kind of looked at it from the side. I said, well, I'm getting to that age where I might want to relocate, and I'm going to have to do another examinations. Instead of another examination, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to go through that again. And then the aha moment came to me too. And I said, clients come to me, they feel better after the acupuncture treatments. Yeah, they keep coming to me. They go away for 6 months and they come back again for the same thing. And I'm like, I don't want you to come back to me. I want you to know what you can do on your own. You got here because you did that.
How to be self-sustainable.
Yes. So I'm like, so in a way, this kind of health coaching kind of just fell on me. I said, I want to teach people how they themselves can take care of themselves. Without resorting to doctors or even Chinese medicine doctors. Because if you think about all those Chinese medicine doctors, they know how to take care of themselves. They don't get treatments.
Right. Yes. Well, prevention is a big cure, isn't it?
Yes.
Knowing when you're out of sync, knowing when things are out of sorts. Yes. It's kind of stopping and paying attention. as to what, being able to tune in and know, okay, I am tired. Why am I tired? Is it the adrenal? Am I pushing myself too far? Am I not getting the right nutrients? Am I allowing stress to do this and that? We don't have this conversation with ourselves. We'll do it
No,
with
we
someone
don't.
else, but not with ourselves. But we've got to
No.
be our own self-maintenance.
Yes, and it takes sometimes practice because
Yeah.
we're so tuned in. It's just running and running and running and running and running and running, and we just don't stop until the light goes down, and then you're just like, okay, I have to go to sleep because I have to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's this kind of running. So when I love this idea that you could retrain a person. It takes time. It's not overnight,
Right.
but then it serves a person for life, and then they end up, instead of being sick and not mobile and resorting to them to go to emergency rooms.
Right. Yes.
They self-sustain and they're happy and they live happily until they run out of time, but in a healthy way.
And you were talking about your mum at 91, and I live with an 88-year-old. We've just come back from Montreal, and
Oh yes, I
I
heard.
mean, it was only the third day after walking the city flat out that she said, I'm tired, and she just keeps
Amazing.
on going. But
Love it.
her diet is massive amount of sugar, vinegar, and salt, right? The three things that I can't
Oh,
take at all. And
oh.
it's like amazing that she is still going. We keep saying that she's probably alien, fermented or something like that, pickled, because she has this amazing amount of energy and very little wrong with her. Some arthritis, memory loss, of course, but
Yes, yes, yes.
but other than that, she ran down the street the other day chasing after someone's dog and
Wow.
caught the dog. So
Wow.
it's but I think that is, we have to look at how did she start, and she would have started with really good food and good nutrition that really built her body up. And
Totally.
if you look at the generations of was somebody brought up on the fast food or the packaged food, the preserved food, right? It's going to change the chemistry of our body, and it's going to be the decision maker as to how strong you are and how fortitude you are in your life.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. And on that note, I do have another client coming in like in a few minutes.
Okay, so let's tell
Ah.
everybody how they can get hold of you and what you're offering them right now.
Oh, so with all my technical problems, I have finally designed a booklet on discover 7 steps to kick your sugar addictions, because I found that sugar is really, 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 really big corporate to our health. And so if people can follow those little examples that I post in that booklet, I write in that booklet, and they can just print it out and put it on their refrigerator or someplace where they see it to remind themselves on things they can do instead of reaching out for that sugar. That would be very helpful, for them to know why they're having these certain issues and see how they feel. And I also offer, of course, for anybody who is interested to learn more, I do those 5-day free, or I'm going to be charging like very minimum amount of dollars to people to participate in those challenges, where we call it reboot the body, basically, because the body needs to rest, and the body needs to reboot itself in order to become healthy. And amazing stuff happens during those 5 days. People lose from 3 to 10 pounds, believe it or not. I'm myself in awe. But really, what the weight is, all it is that it's a symptom of the body is not being happy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So people come to me to lose the weight, but they get their health back.
Right. Yeah, it's learning how to eat. It's learning your relationship with food. It's learning, how to respect food and what to put in your body.
Yes,
Again, you wouldn't put crap in your car, so why are you doing it to your body? Right? This is the
exactly.
vehicle from birth to death. So look
Yes.
after this vehicle. So it's really important. So how do people get hold of you, love?
So I have on LinkedIn, I have my own presentation. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on Facebook. It's under my name. They can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube also account and a podcast. But in that little booklet that I will be happy to share with you and your audience, I have all the links to my I guess social media, that's what they call them,
Right.
social media.
Yeah.
So they can click on it and they can find me and they can follow me. They can come into my group. It's absolutely free of charge, but it is private group. You have to come in, you have to enter, and you have to just become part of our health tribe. And then you'll get notices when I do my next 5-day challenges. I actually stopped doing them lately because I've been busy with private clients. But I also do group coaching there. And in that group, I post a lot of good resources. Like we do little challenges ongoing, we do a lot of information on cooking and foods. And it's a pretty nice community of women, specifically women. I mean, I'm not excluding men, but I
Mhm.
feel like women need more support.
Yes. And women will change the diet of the family.
Yes, true.
Mhm.
True. Yes. So and the dynamic is kind of nicer, when they're just women, I feel more comfortable to talk
Mm,
with each other as well.
right. So the name is Irina, Irina, Lotvin, Lotvin. So they can do that on LinkedIn, on your Facebook. Do you have a website, hun?
I don't have a Facebook. I don't have a website. No.
So they'll find all the information on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and of course they can email you.
Yes. And also the name of the group that I am referring to will be also a link on that PDF file that I can provide for anybody who wants to reach out. And of course, they can reach out to me personally and set up an appointment if they want to talk to me. I'll be happy to share, if something they need that I can clarify for them. I'll be happy to guide them. If I'm not the right person, I'll be happy to guide them to the right person. And the name of the Facebook group is called Lose Your Last 10 Pounds.
Great. So for people who want to go and get the 7 tips, I'm going to say what it is. acudoc.groovepages.com/7 tips. And that's where they can sign up to get it and just be a part of it. Take it from there, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing here today. There's a lot learned, and I'm completely, like the gut, folks, the gut, it's the brain of the body. Look after it, right? Be
Look after
kind
your
to it.
machine. Yeah,
Yes,
look after your car.
yes,
Look at it more favorably and love it.
yes.
And just know that you can change it,
Hmm.
know that it's possible to change the body. The body is so pliable to change. It wants to change. You just have to know the right steps, how to do it. That's all. But it's possible.
Right.
Body does not need to be in pain.
No.
It doesn't want to be in pain. Just paying attention to it.
And if it is in pain, it's because it's telling you something's wrong that you need to rectify,
Yes,
right?
messages. It's
Yeah.
all it is. It's
Don't
giving
numb the
you,
pain with a painkiller. Find out what
yes,
the pain is and do something about it, right? Yeah.
totally. It's so kind to us. We have to
Yeah.
listen to it, even touching yourself,
Hmm.
like we did in the beginning,
Yeah.
like, touching your kidneys and, and touching your tummy,
Yeah.
and asking, what does it really want? Old saying
Yeah.
goes, ask your heart
Yeah.
and feel with your tummy.
Right.
It's just
Yes.
very simple, really.
Yes. Yes. And be kind to yourself, please. So find her on LinkedIn, Irina Lotvin, Lotvin. She'll have her other links there. Go and sign up for that whole process there, which is just so easy, right? 7 ways to kick the sugar addiction, folks. You will feel so much better after doing that. And it doesn't mean you have to deprive yourself of fun things, because there's plenty of wonderful stuff in like dark chocolate and fruit and vegetables, right? They have a natural sugar in there. It's the processed sugar that's killing you. And delicious.
And delicious,
Absolutely.
and there are so many delicious desserts. Oh my
Yes.
God! I mean, in my Facebook page, the private one, I give so many delicious desserts that people, you feel good. You don't have to feel bad after them.
It doesn't mean that you have to be without, but what it does mean is you have to be with something that's better for you.
Yes.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here, love, and
Thank
sharing
you for
here
having
today.
me. It was beautiful. Yes.
We've learned a lot. And, bottom line is, folks, please look at what you put inside your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, and obviously with your food, and just think, are you being kind by doing it? Is it going to do your body good? And don't be afraid to change. Give plant-based diet a chance. Look at the Chinese medicine and how well it's worked for so many thousands of years, right? There's merit in there. And please reach out to find out how you're going to kick your sugars, because that's the first step. So thanks so much, Irina. Been great having you here.
Beautiful to have connected with you, Sarah. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. And to everyone else out there, remember, your health is your choice. Your body's not functioning properly. Do something about it. Irina's here to help you. And it could be something just easy as kicking the sugar habit and just changing a few practices in your life. Let her help you. Until next time, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com, and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.